Before we get started, we just want to say thank you to Godox for sending us the SZ150R for review. As usual, we're not paid to say anything besides our own opinions, and Godox does not get to see this video before it is published. We just want to say thank you. Let's get straight to the point. The Godox SZ150R is definitely a great budget RGB video light because of its price, features, and quality. When I first turned on the light, I was blown away by how nice and easy to understand the interface is. It is very simple to navigate through all the options, and I literally didn't need to read the menu. Or maybe I should for some hidden features. Let's talk about the most commonly used mode, the CCT mode, which gives you the options to choose the color temperature you want the light to be. You have the ability to choose between 2800 Kelvin and 6500 Kelvin as the color temperature. That should cover most of the CCT needs. You also have the option to adjust the green and magenta tint of the CCT light, and that is very amazing because a lot of cameras, except the very expensive cinema cameras, do have a tendency to shift towards either green or magenta. With the SZ150R, you can dial in the closest color temperature you need. I think all lights should have that feature. We're going to quickly check the color accuracy of the light in CCT mode with our color checker. This is not a scientific test, but it is closer to a more practical use of the light. If you don't mind about the color accuracy, you can use the timestamps to jump to different parts of the video. We are using the X-ray color checker for video, and the SZ150R and the camera are both set to 5600 Kelvin with zero adjustments on the green and magenta tint, so we can see if there is any color shifts from the light straight out of the box. Alright, let's take a look and see how good the Godox SZ150R is when it comes to color accuracy. I have the camera and the light both set at 5600 Kelvin with zero tint on both the camera and the light. So let's take a look. This is the image of the X-ray color checker for video, and I'm just gonna pump up the saturation very quickly to show you guys a better look on the chart. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna isolate this strip right here so you guys can see how good the white balance is. It's a little bit on the magenta side. If you look at the vector scope, it's a little bit toward the magenta, and you can see on the RGB parade it is a little bit on the magenta side, but that's okay. It's not bad at all. It is almost spot on. The next thing I'm going to take a look at is this part of the palette to show you how accurate when it comes to other colors. And if I isolate all these palettes, you can see that it is very spot on. A lot of colors are almost pointing at the perfect direction except cyan, I would say, and blue. But those two colors are usually very challenging when it comes to color accuracy of a video light. So this is really, really good already. You just need to tweak it very minor or do a super tiny tweak. Again, the entire vector scope shift towards the magenta side before any adjustments. So all you need to do is to turn down the magenta either on the light or in your computer in post-production. So not a big deal at all. The last thing we're gonna take a look at is the skin tone palette right here. I have the skin tone line set on my vector scope, so I'm just going to draw a mask. And as you can see, again, very spot on. You literally have to tweak like the magenta by a little bit. I can even try right now. With the color wheel, I'm just gonna turn down the magenta by a little bit. Maybe that much. Yeah, so the skin tone line, it's perfect. I'm just gonna do this palette again. After you shift the white balance towards a little bit to the green side, everything seems to be even better than before, just a little bit. So if we look at the white strip, white balance is almost perfectly spot on now after you shift the entire color temperature towards the green tint or green hue. In Final Cut Pro, I have it set to -4 on the tint. You can do it in the light. As I said before, you can do that in the light. Or if you want to do it in post-production, it's not a big deal. It's not bad at all. So if I
tone down the saturation, you can have a better idea of how accurate it is. It looks really good. Yeah, this light, the color accuracy is very spot on.
Since the light is on, let's talk about the brightness. You have the ability to change the brightness of the light from 1% to 100% with 1% as the increment. A lot of lights on the market won't let you go below 10%, but the SZ150R allows you to go down to even 1%, and that is very impressive. As the name of the SZ150R suggests, this is a 150 watts light and it is very bright. Definitely bright enough for a lot of applications, let's say a key light for an interview, a RGB light to set the mood of the scene, or a light to even light up the entire room. This light is definitely bright enough to shine through 1 or 2 layers of diffusion and still stay bright. One thing I really like about the SZ150R is when you jump between modes, the brightness stays at the same level instead of jumping back to whatever level you had when you last used that mode. So you won't be blind by a sudden jump to 100% brightness. To me, these small details count. Since we're switching modes, let's talk about another major mode of the SZ150R, and that is the HSI or RGB mode. You have the ability to dial in any hue or color you want within the 360-degree color spectrum. You can also choose the saturation of the color as well. Everything can be controlled easily with the 2 knobs at the back of the light. Just keep in mind, in HSI or RGB mode, the brightness of the light will be dimmer, and that is just the nature of every consumer RGB light that also has a CCT mode. But it is not that much dimmer. Judging by my eyes, it is about 20% dimmer than the CCT mode, but it is still very bright. Having the ability to use any colors from the RGB spectrum is amazing because now I don't have to carry around my color gels, and I don't have to find a safe and secure way to tape the gels onto my daylight only lights. Now, no more fiddling with the color gels because of the SZ150R, and I'm so happy about it. Being able to dial in the HSI of the light is also very helpful when you are matching lights on set. Sometimes the gels are different colors or the lights are from different brands so they don't match. Now you can just color match them easily by turning the knobs. This is another feature that I think should be on all the RGB lights. The last light mode on the SZ150R is the scene mode, which is getting more and more common on video lights to mimic different light effects. There are 13 different modes from party lights to TV to fire and more. If you press the knob on the left while you're in one of the scenes, it will jump between 3 different frequencies of that mode, which is the first time I've seen on a scene mode. And I think that is very cool, so you don't have to always have the same fire look or TV look. Oh, talking about pressing the knobs, if you press the knob on the right when you are in one of the light modes, it will temporarily turn off the light without powering off the whole unit. So you can have the light in standby mode without flipping the power switch, and I think that is very handy when you're on set. The last mode you have on the SZ150R is the menu mode. This is mainly for you to group the light if you have multiple lights on set that you want to group them or separate them so they don't interfere with each other. The Godox SZ150R has 32 channels and 16 groups that you can choose from, so that should be enough for most of the situations. For me, I just need 1 channel for my YouTube channel. Anyway. Inside the menu section, you have the ability to set the channel for DMX control if you are going to control the light with DMX. There are 2 ports on the left side of the light where you can connect your DMX controller to the SZ150R. You can also turn off the fan of the SZ150R in the menu, but you will be limited to 35% of the brightness on the light, which is to protect the light from overheating. If you forgot that you have the fan turned off, you cannot turn the light brighter than 35%, and the little fan icon will blink to remind you that the fan is off. Another fun little detail of the design. To be honest with you, the fan is not loud at all. I can't even hear it even when I am a foot away from the light, so most likely it will not be picked up by any microphones. The last item in the menu is Bluetooth reset. That is because you have the ability to control the Godox SZ150R via Bluetooth with the Godox Lite app. You can do pretty much everything on the app the same as the buttons and knobs can do, which is amazing if you are on set and the light has to be set up at a spot that is hard to reach, or if you want to group all the lights to do a group light effect. You can also purchase a physical remote control separately if that is easier for, let's say, a crew member to control all the lights without taking away your phone. Another main selling point of the Godox SZ150R is the zoom feature. You will be able to change the beaming angle of the light by turning the big knob on the side of the light. It basically pushes the light dome forward and backward to change the beaming angle. I don't really see too big of a difference with the stock reflector, but it is a great feature so you don't have to move the whole unit back and forth. You might see a bigger difference when you pair the light with a different light modifier. Another very important thing is the build quality of the SZ150R. The whole unit is mainly made out of metal and it feels extremely solid. I'm not going to worry about the durability of the light as long as you keep the front elements safe and the whole unit away from any liquid or dust, because there are honeycomb cutouts everywhere on the light to keep the light away from overheating. So the light is definitely not friends with water. Talking about keeping the front element safe, I really appreciate Godox for including a plastic lens protector for the light when you're traveling with it. This is amazing because the front dome-shaped lens is probably the most fragile part of the light, and now it is protected. Great. Since we're talking about protection, the carrying case that comes with the SZ150R is very well made as well. It is padded everywhere and it has all the dividers arranged to fit the whole light setup, including the power supply and the reflector. And there is a compartment for you to fit some small stuff too, which is very nice. Power supply. Yes, there is a power brick, and the cable from the light to the power brick allows you to set the light up to about 8 feet high before it starts dangling. The cable from the power brick to the power outlet is about 12 feet long, and I think it should be enough for most situations. I always bring my extension cable on set anyway, so that's not a big deal. Godox has also included a wire rope to secure the light just in case if it falls off from the stand or any spots accidentally and injure someone, which is very thoughtful of them. Okay, let's get back to some of the things related to build quality. The frame that you use to adjust the angle of the light is also made out of metal, and it feels extremely solid when you're trying to adjust the light. They even included some foam padding inside the joints to make sure that the adjustment angle does not slip easily. The part where you attach the light to the light stand, it's also very impressive because I have used so many lights that don't go deep enough and they just keep wobbling on set, and that's very scary. The Godox SZ150R, it goes deep enough, so no problems at all. Let's talk about the last but definitely not least cool thing about the SZ150R, the display. I was completely blown away when I first turned on the light. The display is so nice and vibrant to see and adjust all the settings of the light with. It is a very big color LCD display that should be good for most of the people. I've seen some very tiny LED dot display that is very hard to read no matter the condition. The SZ150R display is definitely good enough even at outdoors, and plus it is super fun to adjust the light when you see this nice and big display. I'm not weird, right? The last thing I want to talk about is the USB port that allows you to update the firmware of the light via USB drives. You can download the latest firmware from Godox website and just plug in the USB drive and the light will update the firmware automatically, which is very cool. That is a great feature so Godox can continue to update and improve the light with new features and adjustments, so I'm very happy with that. That's it. Those are my thoughts on the Godox RGB bicolor zoomable SZ150R video light. At this price, I would highly recommend getting it for any production level because of all the features and quality you're going to get. To me, the best feature is the brightness and the RGB, so I don't have to carry my color gels and also worry that the light is not bright enough after putting a gel on, and that is priceless. The SZ150R is definitely my favorite video light right now. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. What is your favorite video light? Maybe we can compare them in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.